Hi, Shannon from Raven and the Wolf Spiritual Services. So I'm kind of tempted to call this video What the Hell is Happening, because that seems to be the pervasive theme of the week. What the hell is happening? And people seem to be in varying degrees of freaking out. So I'm here to hopefully shed a little bit of light on that, what is actually happening or what I think is actually happening, and then what you might be able to do in order to kind of be able to weather this storm, so to speak. Okay, so first and foremost, I think we need to address the elephant in the room. Is this the apocalypse? I know, I'm just going right there. Yes and no. So I want you to think about shifting your idea of what that word means. So in the traditional sense of the Christian sense of the word in Genesis, right, the apocalypse is the end of the world, okay? But actually, the original meaning of the word apocalypse is not the end of the world. What it really means is that it's a great unveiling. It's a seismic shift of consciousness, right? And that is what we're experiencing right now. So we are experiencing the great unveiling, this seismic shift in consciousness, the tearing down of one paradigm in order to hopefully create a new paradigm. So it's going to feel really, really uncomfortable. But yes, has the apocalypse started? Absolutely. And I think, it's been going on for a while, but I think we really saw it kick into high gear this week. So it is going to be scary because things that we normally are not used to seeing, we're going to start seeing. That's what this reveal is about. This is what the great unveiling is all about. It's about us actually starting to see what's happening. We're pulling the veil back. We're pulling back the illusions of this reality, and we're really going to start seeing what's behind all of the masks. So more politicians will be kind of put up to the spotlight. More people will be held accountable for their actions. We're going to really see in a very real way how actions have direct consequences. There's going to be a lot more pushback in different places. So it will be unbelievably uncomfortable. Creating something new is intrinsically really uncomfortable because you do have to pull something down. You cannot make something new unless you take something down before. So we're kind of watching both, right? We're watching the dismantling of what we understand to be reality. And at the same time, what we're starting to do is we're starting to kind of feel our way into the new reality. So what can you do about this? I mean, obviously you can't, make the universe halt this movement forward. But what we can do is we can do several things in order to be as prepared and grounded as possible when these changes start ramping up around us. And the very first thing I'm asking people to do, and I've been asked to do, and I think a lot of the healers and light workers have been asked to do, is to really take a look at our shadow sides. So the idea of shadow work has been going around for quite some time. It's been a buzzword. Everybody likes to say that they're looking at their shadow. What exactly is your shadow side? Your shadow side are those parts of yourself that you might want to suppress, the parts that feel scary, the parts that feel stuck, the parts that feel really uncomfortable. A lot of us don't even want to admit we have a shadow side, because even admitting that we have a shadow side is getting really close to the idea that we have pain buried deep inside of us. But what we need to understand is that when we haven't gotten intimately acquainted with this idea of our shadow side, that shadow side still makes active decisions in our lives. That shadow side still kind of holds the reins in a lot of situations that we encounter in our daily lives, but we don't know. So it's almost like a puppet government, right? It's our shadow puppet government making choices in our lives. So getting really, really familiar with your shadow side, what it is and where it comes from, is extraordinarily important in this kind of healing work that we're all being asked to do. Now, so what the very first thing you want to do is, when you're starting to work with your shadow side, is you need to, I would say, make friends with it. And what that looks like, first and foremost, is admitting that it's there. That's a big one. And then understanding that because it is a part of you, right? And you are part of the universe like everything else. You are therefore divine. It's part of source. So this isn't something to be feared. It's something to look at as a teaching tool, right? And so when you start looking at your shadow side as being something extremely important in how you heal yourself, you start to lose that fear, right? And just because you have a thought doesn't mean you act on a thought. And I like to tell people, thoughts, we all have scary thoughts. We all have aggressive thoughts. We all have dark thoughts, right? When things become extremely toxic is when we deny that they're there and we suppress them and we push them down and we try to put things on top of them so we don't see them anymore. But they don't go away, right? Very often all you have to do is just acknowledge that these feelings are there, and you'll already lessen the severity of the feelings that they start bringing up in you. Okay, so I'm not going to talk a whole lot more about what to do with your shadow side because I think everybody needs to start with this one thing. And then the next time I'll talk about the next part of the process of dealing with your shadow side. So today, just kind of work on getting used to the idea that you do have a shadow side. And not only do you have a shadow side, but it is a beautiful, important part of you, right? It's part of this continuum. So in the coming weeks, I'll be speaking a lot more about the idea of a continuum. We're moving from a space where everything seems to have been on a line. There's good and bad, there's light, there's dark, right? There's happy, there's sad. And we're moving into a new idea of a continuum, right? So everything is a part of us, and light and dark live very close to each other on that continuum, right? And everything touches. So if you start becoming intimately acquainted with all of these spaces, right, you'll start being able to move through them and use them to your healing advantage. That will, I promise, come in handy later on when the entire world looks like they're losing their mind around you, and you'll be able to be grounded, centered, planted, firm, right? Even though everything else seems to be out of control. And that's really what we're being asked to do this work now, so when the other shoe drops, which it very may drop in the next few months, we're going to be okay in the middle of this. And why is that important? Because people are going to be looking to us to be able to hold that space for them. Okay, so beautiful light workers, start doing your shadow work by just admitting that you have a shadow and start seeing what those shadows are. Okay, and probably in a few more days I'm going to come back and we'll talk about step number 2. It was really great to talk to you guys, and I will talk to you soon. Of course, as you know, if you have questions or comments, you can always reach me on ravenandthewolf.spiritualservices.com or on my Facebook page, Raven and the Wolf Spiritual Services. Please feel free to ask me more questions. What the hell is going on? I'm getting pretty good at answering those. Thank you so much, and I will talk to you guys soon.